Meiosis is a type of cell division where one diploid parent cell undergoes 2 divisions to give 4 haploid daughter cells. So we have 2 steps in meiosis. There's meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So the diploid parent cell undergoes meiosis 1 and produces 2 daughter cells. Then these cells synchronously undergo meiosis 2 and produce 4 haploid daughter cells. If you watched the previous videos in embryology basics, or if you already know about the cell cycle and mitosis, you can skip ahead with the timestamps. And before I move to meiosis, I want to give a quick introduction to the cell cycle and its phases. The cell cycle can be divided into an interphase and an M phase. In interphase, we have 3 more phases, G1, S, and G2. In M phase, the cell would either be going through mitosis or meiosis. And in meiosis, as I just mentioned a few seconds back, we have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So 2 divisions. Now supposing this is a cell, this is the cytoplasm and this is the nucleus. For a cell to divide, it has to undergo nuclear division and cytoplasmic division as well. So for a cell undergoing mitosis, mitosis is the nuclear division where the parent cell is diploid and the daughter cells are also diploid. In meiosis, there is nuclear division again, but we have daughter cells which are haploid and the parent cell is diploid. But what I'm trying to say is mitosis and meiosis, that is your M phase, is just nuclear division, okay? So the cell also has to undergo cytoplasmic division after nuclear division, which is called cytokinesis. So cytokinesis is nothing but cytoplasmic division. So in mitosis, what are the phases that a cell has to go through when it is going to undergo mitosis? So first it has to enter interphase, G1, S, and G2, these 3 phases. And then it enters mitosis, that is your M phase. Now in mitosis, nuclear division has already been completed. So as I said before, it has to undergo cytoplasmic division, which is cytokinesis. So the last step would be cytokinesis. And then you will get 2 daughter cells. Okay, so the parent is diploid in mitosis and the daughter cells are also diploid. In meiosis, we have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So a cell undergoing meiosis has to start with G1, an S phase, G2, and then it enters M phase, that is your meiosis 1. So meiosis 1 is nuclear division, okay? So after nuclear division, as I said before, it has to undergo cytokinesis, your cytoplasmic division. So after meiosis 1, there is cytokinesis. And between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, we have another interphase, okay? It's called interphase 2 or interkinesis. It's similar to interphase, but not the same. In interphase, there are 3 phases. A first gap phase or G1, an S phase or a phase of synthesis, and a second gap phase or G2. Now in S phase, there is replication of the DNA. The entire genome of that cell is replicated. But in interphase 2 or interkinesis, that genomic replication does not occur. Okay, interphase 2 is a short resting period where the cell is allowed to replenish its proteins. So then after the short resting period, it proceeds to meiosis 2. In meiosis 2, again, it has undergone nuclear division only. So it has to undergo cytokinesis again. So remember, when you're talking about the cell cycle, sometimes it's, even in my previous videos, I've mentioned it as interphase, M phase, and then cytokinesis here. Okay, so don't get confused. Cytokinesis is required after meiosis and mitosis both. Okay, so in case of mitosis, we have interphase, M phase, followed by cytokinesis. In meiosis, we have interphase, meiosis 1, cytokinesis, then we have meiosis 2, then again we have cytokinesis. Okay, coming to the phases of meiosis. So you already know that we have something called meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. In meiosis 1, we have prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. In meiosis 2, we have the same, but the numbers are different. So here we have prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. Here, prophase 2, metaphase 2, and so on. In meiosis 1, one difference is that prophase 1 is split into 5 other phases: leptotene, zygotene, pachytene, diplotin, and dikinesis. Okay, so a cell undergoing meiosis, okay, if you mention each and every step, the cell has to enter G1, then go to S, and then G2. So this is our interphase. After interphase, it has to enter the M phase. So M phase is your prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. Okay, in prophase 1, we have leptotene, zygotene, pachytene, diplotin, and dikinesis. So PMAT. And then after PMAT, there's cytokinesis. Then interkinesis, which is the short resting period between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So we have prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2, and then again cytokinesis. Okay, so this is the sequence that the cell has to go through to complete meiosis. This is our cell which is about to undergo meiosis. So this is the centrosome, this is the nuclear envelope, and this is the genetic material within the cell. So it enters G1. In G1, you must have seen in the previous cell cycle video, there's an increase in the cell size and it starts copying its organelles. In S phase, the genome of the cell is replicated. So the genetic material doubles in quantity. We have a duplication of centrosomes. Okay, so we have 2 centrosomes now and we have double the amount of DNA content now. Okay, then it goes to the second gap phase and then it starts meiosis 1. Now the cell enters meiosis 1. The first phase of meiosis 1 is prophase 1, which begins with leptotene. In leptotene, there is chromosomal condensation. Okay, so the chromosomes, they attain a compact structure. So this is like prophase of mitosis. For those of you who don't know, mitosis also has the same names: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. And the first phase, prophase, is like leptotene. Okay, the chromosomes, they attain a compact structure, their thickness increases and their length decreases. Okay, and it's a visible stage. You can see it through the light microscope. So we have leptotene here. After leptotene, the cells enter zygotene. In zygotene, there is something called pairing of homologous chromosomes. Now, what are homologous chromosomes? They are a set of 1 maternal and 1 paternal chromosome. So, say this is chromosome number 2. This is also chromosome number 2. But this is chromosome number 2 from the mother. This is chromosome number 2 from the father. So, these two would make a set of homologous chromosomes. Okay, these are homologous chromosomes. So, these homologous chromosomes, they get paired in zygotene. And they form a structure which is called a bivalent or a tetrad. Now, the most important thing to remember here is, even though a lot of images represent the chromosomes in meiosis like this, side by side, they're actually not like that. They're actually present like this, one on top of the other, okay? And this structure is called a bivalent or a tetrad. This structure, this is a bivalent or a tetrad. Now, this is actually how the chromosomes will be arranged. They'll be one on top of the other. So this is one chromosome, the green one, and this is another one, the red. So these two are homologous chromosomes. One is from the mother, one is from the father. And they'll be aligned like this together, and between them is a proteinaceous structure called a synaptonemal complex. So here, so between these two, we find what is called a synaptonemal complex. It's like a scaffolding for this bivalent or the tetrad. It keeps them together and it helps in exchanging genetic information. So this is how they would actually be arranged. They don't actually lie side by side as depicted in the images. Okay, so whenever you see any meiosis pictures, don't get confused. They don't actually lie like this. They're actually present in the form of a tetrad or a bivalent like this. The next stage is packetine. Now in packetine, there's crossing over of these non-sister chromatids of the homologous chromosomes. So these are our homologous chromosomes. Now these two, they are sister chromatids. Now this is the centromere, this is one chromatid, this is another chromatid. The same here, okay? This is one chromatid, this is another chromatid. Now these two, they belong to the same chromosome. They're attached to the same centromere. So these two are sister chromatids. Likewise here, these two are sister chromatids, okay? Meaning this entire thing and this entire thing. These are sister chromatids. So the red chromatid and the green chromatid, these two are not sister chromatids, okay? So the non-sister chromatids, they exchange information. This crossing over, this is called crossing over, okay? They swap their genetic material. So this happens in packetine. Remember, crossing over is an important event and that happens in packetine, okay? The next is diploidine. So in diploidine, what happens? The homologous chromosomes separate from each other. The synaptonemal complex dissolves. And when they separate everywhere except at the site of crossing over. So they crossed over here. So at this point, they are still connected. And this structure, which is formed in diploidine, is called a chiasmata. Okay. Next is diakinesis. In diakinesis, there will be meiotic spindle assembly. If you've not watched my previous video on centrosomes and microtubules, I'll quickly tell you what a meiotic spindle is. So we have a centrosome, right? It's a proteinaceous structure. This gives out microtubules, okay? These microtubules are also made of proteins. Now, when there are a lot of microtubules, a cluster of microtubules, it's called a spindle. And this spindle, it's present in both mitosis and meiosis. And since this is meiosis, it's called the meiotic spindle. So basically, it's a lot of microtubules coming out of the centrosomes. That is the meiotic spindle. Why do we need this meiotic spindle? Just like in mitosis, you need to separate these chromosomes into equal halves for the formation of the daughter cells. So to separate them, you need something to pull them away from each other, and the structures which will pull them apart are the spindles, okay? So the meiotic spindle starts forming and the chiasmata breaks, okay? And the nuclear envelope also breaks. Now for the spindle to come in and attach onto the centromere and pull the chromosomes apart, it has to invade the nuclear area. See, so far the chromosomes were within the nucleus, but they have to cross the nuclear envelope and come inside to attach onto the centromeres. So the nuclear envelope breaks apart in diakinesis, okay? Something else that I need to tell you before we move to the next phase. This is a chromosome. This is one chromatid, this is one chromatid, this is what is called the centromere, okay? And on either sides of the centromere, we have two protein complexes, okay? These complexes, they are called kinetochores, okay? These kinetochores are the sites where the spindle will come and attach. So it'll come attach here, it'll come attach here, and they'll pull on either side of the chromosome. Now we finished prophase 1. So we saw leptidine, zygotine. What are homologous chromosomes? What is a bivalent or a tetrad? Then after leptidine and zygotine, we have pachytene, where crossing over takes place, followed by diploidine and diakinesis. The next thing is metaphase 1. So before I tell you about metaphase, just know that there's something called a metaphase plate. The metaphase plate is nothing but an imaginary line which is equidistant from the two poles of the cell, okay? So it's an imaginary line in the middle of the cell. Now in metaphase, these chromosomes, they'll align along the metaphase plate, and then we already have the spindle attaching onto the kinetochores, and they start pulling the chromosomes apart. In anaphase, we have equal amount of chromosomes on either side, okay? So it has pulled one chromosome here, one here. Now obviously this is only a representation, that's why I've drawn only two chromosomes. In a cell, it would be an equal collection of chromosomes on either side in anaphase. In telophase, the nuclear envelope starts to form again, and the genetic material, it starts to decondense. So it goes back from this form to the form it was previously in, and the spindles retract and the nuclear envelope forms. The nucleus may also form. Now in telophase, your nuclear division is complete. The next thing that it has to go through is cytokinesis. So after telophase, it enters cytokinesis and the cytoplasm is divided. And now we have two daughter cells, and they have the genetic material as we have seen in telophase, okay? So we saw prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase of the first meiosis. Now the cell will enter interkinesis or interphase 2, and then it will start meiosis 2, okay? So this is how the daughter cells of meiosis 1 look, okay? Remember the genetic material, how it looks. Now when they enter prophase 2, meiosis 2, remember, it's kind of like mitosis, okay? The same phases, but you have to make sense of it with regards to the daughter cells of first meiosis, okay? So crossing over has occurred, genetic information has been exchanged. Now in prophase 2, the DNA starts condensing again, and we have new spindle apparatus as well, okay? Now remember, the first time the cell went through interphase, so there was replication of DNA. So replication of DNA is not here, because in interkinesis, it's only a short resting period. You don't have genomic replication. And the centrosome also doubled in the S phase of interphase. But here again, that's not there. All this has happened in prophase 2. In metaphase 2, again, the chromosomes are aligned along the metaphase plate, which is an equidistant imaginary line, and the meiotic spindle has come and attached onto the kinetochores on other sides of the chromosome. Now it starts pulling the chromosomes apart. So in anaphase 2, both sides of the cell have equal number of chromosomes, equal amount of chromosomes. In telophase, the material has, again, it has started decondensing, the nuclear envelope starts forming again, and the spindles retract, and they're about to divide. So after telophase, they undergo cytokinesis, and then the daughter cells are formed. So quick recap. The cell enters interphase, okay, G1, and then it goes to S phase. S phase is where the genome replicates. Okay, so there is duplication of the centrosome, and the amount of genetic material is also replicated. Then the cell enters G2 or the second gap phase. Then the cell enters meiosis 1. Meiosis 1 starts with prophase 1. In prophase 1, we saw the 5 phases: leptidine, zygotine, pachytene, diploidine, diakinesis. In leptidine, there's chromosomal condensation, and then in zygotine, homologous chromosomes are paired. Pachytene, the non-sister chromatids, they undergo crossing over. In diploidine, they start separating, a chiasmata forms, and in diakinesis, the chiasmata breaks, okay? And then the cells enter metaphase 1. Metaphase 1 is like any other metaphase. They are aligned along the metaphase plate, which is an imaginary line equidistant from the two poles of the cell. And in anaphase, the spindles start to retract. They pull the chromosomes away from each other. In telophase 1, the cells, the future daughter nuclei have been formed. The nuclear envelope is forming again, and the nuclei are formed, and the spindle is also retracting. After that, the cells undergo cytokinesis and form the daughter cells. So after meiosis 1, the cells enter a short resting period, which is called interkinesis or interphase 2. Then the cells enter meiosis 2, which starts with prophase 2. Meiosis 2 is like mitosis. So in prophase 2, there's condensation of the genetic material. In metaphase 2, again, like metaphase 1, they're aligned along the metaphase plate and they're pulled apart from each other. In anaphase, we already have an equal collection of chromosomes on either sides of the cell, ready to go for the future daughter nuclei. In telophase, the future daughter nuclei are formed and the spindles are retracted. They undergo cytokinesis and then the daughter cells are formed. So that was the entire sequence of events that the cell goes through when undergoing meiosis. So interphase, meiosis 1, cytokinesis, interkinesis, meiosis 2, and then cytokinesis again. And finally, we need to remember the amount of genetic material. We started out with these 2 strands, okay? So this was a diploid parent cell, okay? But after meiosis 2, we have daughter cells with only 1 strand each, meaning they have only half the amount of genetic material as the parent cell. These are haploid daughter cells. We started with 1 parent cell, which had 2n amount of information. It divided into 2 daughter cells, and these 2 daughter cells again divided, and we have finally 4 daughter cells with half the amount of information. It was all about meiosis. In case you ever get confused, you can note down this flowchart. It will help you remember the phases that a cell has to go through, starting from G1 till it finishes meiosis 1 and meiosis 2.